Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on another paranormal pit stop. Tonight, we'll be exploring a sprawling park expanse located out of Hamden, Connecticut, that boasts an impressive traprock mountain reaching 739 feet in height, also referred to as Blue Hills and Mount Carmel, visible for miles, deriving its moniker from its resemblance to a slumbering silhouette and purported to harbor a range of paranormal energies and restless spirits. Are you prepared to explore the history and hauntings of Sleeping Giant State Park? Historically, interest in mountain retreats would sweep New England through the early to mid-19th century, and over time, a number of cabins, lodges, and primitive resorts would sprout up across the Metacomet Ridge. An early road and castle would be constructed on Sleeping Giant in 1888 under one John H. Dickerman, who would utilize his creation to host picnics on its ledges, while offering ice cream to all who attended. Eventually, one local property owner, Judge Willis Cook, would lease his land to the Mount Carmel Traprock Company for quarrying. However, their blasting would result in strong public scrutiny, and in 1924, the Sleeping Giant Park Association was created by a group of concerned residents in order to preserve the peak. Also in 24, the SGPA would donate 600 acres of their land to the Park and Forest Commission, who would utilize this space to form what would someday become Sleeping Giant State Park. And later the same year, an additional 65 acres of land would be acquired and added to this cause. Under orders of Yale University forestry professor James W. Toomey, the SGPA would wage legal warfare against a traprock operation that refused to give ground in favor of destroying it, and in 1933, all usable land would be purchased by the association, driving a stake into and effectively ending these cancerous quarrying practices. In 1936, the Sleeping Giant Tower was constructed under the Works Progress Administration at the mountain's highest peak, and in 1986, the site was listed as part of the Connecticut State Park and Forest Depression-era Federal Work Relief Program structures on the National Register of Historic Places. Sadly, on May 15th of 2018, a significant microburst would cause extensive damages to Sleeping Giant State Park, forcing officials to close the space down for a period of time. However, following over a year of cleanup efforts, it was reopened again on June 14th of 2019. The park remains open into the present, offering over 30 miles of hiking trails, including 5 miles of the 23-mile-long Quinnipiac Trail over a breathtaking 1,500 acres, which are dotted with clifftop vistas, various microclimates, and notable landmarks. On a side note, for any wishing to visit this wilderness, poison ivy does grow rampantly through the region, so if you're not experienced in the area, you may want to stick to its main trails. Sleeping Giant is recognized as potentially dangerous to the unprepared, and supernatural activity throughout is attributed to the many who have met fate within, to falls, suicides, animal attacks, and worse. And those frequenting its bounds have described disembodied voices, otherworldly sounds from the skies, footsteps heard emanating from the brush, and misty forms who have appeared to hikers, sometimes to lead the lost back to safety. Dead Man's Cave, formerly Abraham's Cave, is surrounded by a popular legend telling that on Good Friday in 1873, a pair of boys went searching for the delve, seeking out Abraham, but upon locating the cavern, found the decomposing body of Edward Barnum instead. Edward Barnum was the nephew of prominent American entrepreneur P.T. Barnum, and it's told this obscure death left his soul restless. Those who have since explored the dements have described a man's voice heard from deep within, and the constant feeling of being closely watched. Also documented across the giant are encounters with a spectral man dressed in all black, with a white ring around his left arm that's usually spied near the castle. Some speculate this may also be the manifestation of Old Ed, while others the wary soul of some unfortunate hiker. However, as this entity promptly vanishes when approached, we may never uncover the truth. Lastly, the most famous legend surrounding the area originates from the Quinnipiac tribe and tells of the deity Hobbamock, who is often described in tale as violent, callous, and wicked in nature. Traditional stories claim this wasn't always the case, however, and that at one point, Hobbamock was kind to native inhabitants, teaching them how to survive while also caring for the earth. It's iterated that at some point, Hobomok left for a significant period of time, and that when he returned, the people he'd loved had forgotten his name, teachings, and most importantly, that it was their duty to care for his land. Enraged, it said Hobomok stamped his foot in anger, resulting in the Connecticut River flooding the land and killing many. To prevent further damages, the good spirit Chiton, who understood Hobomok's pain and incidentally his will, would cast a sleeping charm over the devious deity, causing him to lay down and assume the form we know today as the sleeping giant mountain. Chillingly, however, it's told that someday this charm will wear off, and that Hobomok will once again awaken, probably filled with rage over Chiton's deceit, and will likely be poised for blood. Thanks for tuning in for this Paranormal Pit Stop. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.